What's up, folks? This is Zen of the Zenophobic Show. I'm sitting here with Jerry next to me. He probably won't want to sit, but I think you should hear this story because it's pretty interesting and it goes with recent events about living with addicts, living with out of control people. I'm going to tell him a story of what happened when I lived with a spoiled Jewish kid who was a crack addict who tried to stab me one night. Luckily, I wasn't asleep like the Reiners, or I don't know if the Reiners were asleep when their son stabbed them. But this kid tried to stab me, and he was a roommate of mine for about a year and a half. I basically took care of this kid. I was on Craigslist looking for a roommate to share a flat with in Koreatown. And he was one of the applicants, and he showed up, a fresh-faced 18-year-old kid, clean cut, and he came with his mother. I'm like, wow, what is this? And it turned out he was a cook's apprentice. He worked in a kitchen. And he was into gardening and planting vegetables. And we happened to have a vegetable patch in the backyard of the place I was staying at with a Korean landlady tenant who grew her own vegetables. So I said, well, this works out. Nice kid, seems very nice, comes from a nice Jewish family. What could go wrong? Well, what could go wrong was I ended up doing everything for him. This guy was a complete child. I basically had to tie his shoes for him, okay? He was a complete pothead, just lay around doing nothing, fucking around, kind of reminding me of somebody else now, and then going out and working at night. So eventually, he gets into meth. Well, at this time, I was into it too. But he happened to get into it because he had connected with one of my clients. I happened to be, like I said in a previous video, at the time I was building computers and running DVDs for various underworld entities. And one of them trafficked meth. And I happened to bring this guy. His name is Drewbitch, which is a combination of his name Andrew and his last name Leibovich. So I called him Drewbitch. He accompanied me one day, and I guess they happened to go off and talk by themselves or whatever. And next thing I know, Andrew's buying meth from this guy, smoking it, and becoming out of control. So basically, I got sick of taking care of him. At the time, I was carless. I was trying to run my computer business and run my DVD business without having a car. He happened to be gifted an old junky Corolla that was stick shift by his uncle, but he didn't know how to drive stick, so I drove him around all the time. And I was okay with it because then I got to use the car. So I never bothered trying to teach him how to drive stick. So he had that car. But, okay, so he's completely whacked out on crack. And I'm getting sick of living with him. And like I said in the video with Jerry, when I get sick of a situation, I try to resolve it by starting an altercation that I can blame the other party for. So I basically planned one day to completely rile Andrew up, which I ended up brilliantly succeeded in doing when he was completely cracked out on a 3-day binge. I had managed to provoke him into a fight, and I didn't know just how crazily I had provoked him because he came at me with a 4-foot bong that he uses, and he swung it at my head, and I ducked, and it put a hole in the stucco wall, It didn't shatter. It actually put a hole in the wall. I grappled him about the neck. I pushed him back into the bed. And I said, you come out of here again, I'm going to fucking murder you. And I closed the door. And he came out at me with a knife. It was a pocket knife, but he came out swinging it at me. And I managed to catch his wrist. And he had it, like, close by my ear, close enough that he actually nicked it. I had caught it while he swung it at my head. And I managed to stop him from dislodging the knife into my ear. It had nicked my ear. I was dripping and bleeding. And I managed to wrestle him down on the ground, and I had one hand around his wrist holding the knife, and I had one hand around his neck pinning him down, and I said, do you really want to do this? I could by rights murder you right now after you attacked me in my own home. And I basically choked him out, and he let go of the knife, and I threw him back in his room. I said, seriously, if this door even opens a crack, I'm going to kick it open and I'm going to brain you. And I kicked him into his room. I closed the door, and I went to the kitchen and picked up this heavy marble paper towel holder that I had there. It was completely solid marble or made out of granite or stone. And I just took the roll off of it, and I held it in my hand. And if he came out that door, I was going to brain him. And then I plotted what I was going to do to him. Now, this is the great part. This is what I want Jerry to listen to. I want him never to try and fuck with me, because this is where he's going to find out just how fucking devious and evil and vengeful I can be. So now I've got the kid in the room. He had just attacked me. I'm dripping blood from my ear. I'm ready to murder his ass. And then I said, I'm getting him out of my life. And I ended up, oh, there's the kitty. He's walking. So I called the police. And I reported assault. And they're on their way. Then I called the dude's mother. I said, your son just tried to fucking murder me. I'm calling the police now. I'm just letting you know that he's going to be on the loose now, and you're going to have to deal with them. And the first thing his mom said is, we're not going to deal with them. And she hung up on me. And that's when I knew that his parents, and what I subsequently found out, that his parents knew all the time what a troubled, mentally fucked up, addicted son they had, and they just dropped me off on their doorstep. He's been seeing counselors. He's been on Ritalin. They just dropped a troubled fucking adolescent on my doorstep, and it was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. So then the police are on the way. And then I pound on Andrew's door, Drewbitch's door, and said, hey, dude, the police are on their way. I just reported the assault. You're going to be arrested. I'm giving you a chance to do something right now. And what I wanted was for him to flee, which he did. He got scared. He fucking ran out of his room, got into his car, of which he didn't know how to drive because it was stick shift, and proceeded to start it, miserably failing while the police are coming. And I'm watching this from the window of his room, watching him struggle with his car, waiting for the police to show up and grab him. I thought it was going to be great. But he managed to start the car. And then he managed to plow into 3 other cars going down the street trying to control it. And then he took off into the night. And then the police came. They showed up. I filed a report. They took a picture of my ear, everything and all that. I filed a restraining report on him. I changed the locks on the apartment, had the landlady change the locks, locked him out of his place. And, oh, another thing is, at this time, he was a model. He had been working catering one night, and some flaming photographer of old Hollywood, someone who used to like take pictures of James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, very famous photographer. I forgot his name, but he's got actual books about him and then books of all of the celebrities that he's taken pictures of. Well, this person had seen Andrew at a catering event because Andrew was a chef's assistant. And I guess he lusted after Andrew and invited Andrew to take headshots. He said he would do headshots for Andrew for free and do a photo session of Andrew for free. And Andrew asked me to accompany him because he was afraid of what would happen if he was left alone with this old pederast who wanted to take pictures of him while he was naked. So anyways, with these pictures, Andrew managed to get into a modeling agency. So he was working for a modeling agency, and he was dating the daughter of one of the owners of the agency. And during this whole time, I'm still driving him to modeling shoots and everything else. So now he's run away. He's got the police after him, or they're not really after him, but he's got a police report on him. He's homeless. He's in a car. He doesn't even know how to drive. I had actually caught him one night beating the crap out of his girlfriend, and I actually choked him out that night too, and I told him if he ever touched her again, in my presence, I would give him a beating of his lifetime. And I took her home. I had called the modeling agency. I had informed the owner of what had transpired and then also what I witnessed, the beating of this woman's daughter at the hands of Andrew. And Andrew promptly got fired by his modeling agency. So now he has no source of income. He's homeless. He's in a car. If he shows up anywhere, he's afraid the police are going to take him in. I then call my associate, the person that I did computers for, the person that sold him his meth, and I told him to cut him off his meth supply. No more meth. Don't sell him any more meth. And this person listened to me because he doesn't want to piss me off because I do all his computer work and I do DVD work for him. So now Andrew doesn't have access to his meth. My entire goal was to have Andrew become so desperate in his homelessness that he would end up sucking cock for his meth. And then eventually maybe potentially committing suicide somewhere on the road. And that was my entire plan for Andrew, for him, for trying to stab me one night. And that's how my thought processes work. And that's how I ended up trapping Jerry here to become my wage slave, because I know just how much he makes. I know just how much he spends his money on. I knew just how much rent to gouge out of him to make it so he couldn't ever save up any money to escape me if I wanted him to. And now I just finished yelling at Jerry again for being a selfish bastard, even though he doesn't think he is. And I just wanted to relay that story, that I had to deal with my own crazy Nick Reiner situation with the spoiled, privileged Jewish kid who tried to murder me one night with a knife because he was cracked out. But I ended up getting the better of him. I'm going to send this to his cousin, to his sister. I still have their contact information. Maybe his mother will listen to this story too. That evil wench. She's the one who afflicted him on me. Anyways, I'm glad I got this story out. Jerry's been sitting here smoking up. I hope he'd listen to it. I hope he knows. He knows what a manipulative, fucking controlling bastard I am. He's going to have to try and survive this last year. He told me the other day, man, when I leave the house now, I make sure everything's closed. I make sure the doors are closed, the internet, blah, blah, blah. I said, thank you. You're finally becoming a considerate roommate for the first time in 2 years. And then he does something else. And then he has the temerity to fucking give me a slight pushback. I don't want any more fucking pushback, dude. You know? I was fucking ready to just go crazy on him. He fucking is about to give me a heart attack. The last time I went off on Jerry, I checked my blood pressure afterwards. It was 200. Maybe that's his goal. Maybe his goal is just to fucking have myself fucking have a heart attack over him. And then he'll just try and sit in this house for as long as he can until my brother kicks him out. I don't know. Anyways, happy holidays, everybody. Good night.